And then my teacher was like, Sophia, don't yuck someone's yum. What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. The end of the year is a time for reflection. And in this video, I'm gonna be reflecting on all of the worst products that I tried in 2022. That's right. These are the products that for whatever reason, they just didn't work out for me. And I don't want this video to be too negative, so I thought it would be fun to also share with you on not only what was the product that I didn't like, but also what am I using instead? So like, what are some good alternatives that I have been enjoying? So if you guys are interested in hearing all of my thoughts on the worst products that I tried this year, then keep watching. And if you're new here, then welcome, welcome. My name is Sophia, and this is my channel that focuses on all things beauty and luxury. If you're somebody that loves luxury beauty, high-end beauty, luxury fashion, lifestyle, then you're in the right place, my friend. Hit that subscribe button to join our fam. We have a lot of fun on this channel, as you're about to find out from this video. And you can also click the notification bell to hear about every time I upload a new video. All right, party people, let's get into the worst products that I tried this year. If you like this style of video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I'm also going to be doing, of course, another video of the best products that I tried in 2022. So look out for that coming soon on my channel. Also, anything that I mentioned in this video, anything that is on my face, I'm going to be linking in that description box down below. So if you're curious, it's all going to be in that description box down below. I also want to caveat before I get into this, these are the products that didn't work for me. I watch these videos all the time. Other creators do them. And oftentimes they talk about products that I love. But you know what? It's okay, because not everybody has to like everything. We all have different skin types, we have different skin tones, we have different preferences in the makeup. That's why on my channel, I try and show you guys the best representation of the products when I'm doing reviews, so you can decide if it's going to work for you, in addition to giving you my 2 cents on if it works for me. So if I mention a product in this video that you love, please don't be offended. These are just the ones that didn't work out for me. In fact, a lot of these products are beloved by many other people in the beauty community and many consumers out there. So just a quick caveat, I'm not trying to bash these products. I'm just letting you guys know these didn't work out for me, and then the product that I am using instead. All right, let's start off with primers. And unfortunately, my first product is this one from Cali Ray. This is the only product that I haven't really liked from Cali Ray. This is the Cali Ray Just Add Rays Glow Boosting Drops. And essentially what these are supposed to be are like, it's a glowy oil, essentially. You can wear this on its own. You're supposed to be able to wear this under makeup. I think one of the biggest ways they marketed this is that you mix a couple of these drops into the Cali Ray skin tint, which I really like. But the problem with this, there's a couple of problems with this. The first thing is that it's way too oily. It really doesn't sink in. It's very greasy. I don't like the way that it feels on my skin. It's just like, if you were to put makeup on top of this, I think that your makeup would just slide off. I do think that it works pretty well mixed into the Cali Ray skin tint, but the Cali Ray skin tint is already good on its own. I don't feel like I need this extra step. The second thing is that, as you can see here, you really don't get much pigment from this. I thought that this was gonna be more like the Drunk Elephant de-bronzy, like those glow boosting drops. Those have a little bit more pigment. I just don't get enough here to make it worth including it on my face as a primer or mixing it into another product. The third thing that I don't like about this is the scent. It's not that I don't like a tropical scent, but whoa, like this has such a strong tropical scent. I really only see this working if you want to rub this all over your body. Like if you're going out and you have, maybe you're showing a little bit of skin, you wanna moisturize your legs, you wanna add a little bit of like glow and kind of smooth out any dry skin, anything like that. That's where I would foresee somebody using this product. But I just think that there are other better like glowy oil products that are out there. The one that I like to use instead is this one by Skin Glass. This is Skin Glass by North Face, and I have the champagne color. I like the fact that these come in a couple of different shades, and this is a glowy oil, but I like the formula of this a little bit more. You shake it up, you gotta shake it because it does kind of separate. It's not as greasy, it's not as oily, it sinks in a lot better. And this has more pigment and no strong scent. So I'll just show you guys. I have the champagne one right there. And I know it looks very shiny at first, but trust me, once you get this all over your face, it just kind of makes your face look like you have a plump, juicy filter on your skin. This is great for no makeup days. I don't really like mixing this kind of stuff into my foundation. I prefer to use this just for no makeup days or mixed with a very, very light foundation like the Chanel Water Fresh tint, for example. Those are a match made in heaven because they're both meant to give you that glass skin type of effect. If you guys are interested, I do have a full roundup video of glowy skin products. So anything that's like a glowy base that came out this year or is like an OG, I have a full video of that and I go through every single product and do very in-depth comparisons. So if you guys are looking for some glowy primers or glowy products that you can add to your foundations to kind of just boost the radiance of your makeup, I will link that video down below. I have one more primer product that I wanted to talk about, and a lot of these products, by the way, I returned because I did not like them. So if I don't have the product, I will put an image up. And the next one that I want to talk about is unfortunately from Fenty, and is the Fenty All Over Glow Base. These came out in, I want to say like 3 or 4 different shades. I just had high hopes for this. One of the reasons why I wanted to try this is because I love the Fenty Eavesdrop skin tint. It's one of my favorite skin tints in my collection, and I thought this would be a really beautiful compliment. But unfortunately, I don't know, friends. I talked about this in that glowy skin roundup video. This was just, it didn't really hit the mark by any means. I think it's a little bit overpriced, and I think that it's just not as moisturizing and as glowy as other options that are out there. I just think that like we didn't really need this. There's so many other products out there. For me, it was a disappointment. It was like, I don't really understand what you're bringing to the table, Fenty, with this product. The biggest thing being, I just felt like it didn't leave enough pigment on my skin. And the product that I've been using instead of this has been the Arc Glow Lust. Once again, this is also in my glowy roundup videos. So if you want to see kind of what I like about the different glowy primers, check out that video. I have the shade Selenite right here. And what I love about this is that it is so pigmented. It really can be used for so many different purposes, brightening under the eyes, as a highlighter, as a base, worn alone, which I feel like that's how the Fenty primer was marketed. But you just really can't use it for all those things. You really can only use it as like a very sheer priming serum. What I like about this is that it's super pigmented. It's very moisturizing. It feels creamy and rich, but it doesn't crease my makeup at all. This is just like the can do everything glowy highlighter product. I love to mix this with things, and because it's a little bit thicker, like you only need a little bit. This bottle, show you guys the gorgeous packaging on this. This bottle is going to last so long. It's like a lifetime supply of Arc Glow Lust. So this is the product that I have been using instead of the Fenty Glow Base. The worst category for me, hands down, in 2022 is foundations. Like, I didn't like most of the foundations that I tried. Like, most of them were just so god awful on my skin. And for the record, if you are new here, I'm 31. I have very dry, dehydrated skin. My skin concerns are usually dryness, rosacea, a little bit of redness, keratosis pilaris. I'm also kind of acne prone. I look for something that is going to have a decent amount of coverage. It's going to be very nourishing to my skin. And a lot of the foundations that have been coming out on the market, especially this year, are those that have skincare benefits. But I think, friends, you need to be careful about a lot of these, because just because it says they have skincare benefits doesn't mean it's gonna be good for your skin. I am typically in the camp where I like to let my skincare be my skincare, and then once I have my skincare on, I don't want my makeup messing with that skincare. And by far the most popular ingredient that we've been seeing in the past year has been hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is not a new ingredient, but every brand is pumping it into everything. Hyaluronic acid in your blush, hyaluronic acid in your powder, in your lip gloss, in your mascara, anything. Like, they literally just chucked hyaluronic acid into everything. And what that has done for my skin when I use these types of foundations, again, it depends on the formulation, is that at first they look beautiful. They look juicy and plump and radiant. I'm like, oh yes, it said this is gonna be moisturizing. And then very quickly, especially if I am in a dry environment, which usually, half the year I live in Massachusetts, it is dry and cold. And then I remember when I was testing a lot of these in the beginning of the year, I was in Southern California, also a dry climate. Essentially, like all of the moisture would be added to my skin from the hyaluronic acid, and then all of that moisture would just evaporate and just be sucked out of my skin, leaving me with a dry, crusty face. So I have a couple of foundations that are in this category that produced that very same effect. The first one, probably the worst one, is the KOSAS Revealer Foundation. I was so excited for this foundation because I love the concealer. No. Oh my goodness. I didn't even review this. I didn't even review this because it was just so bad. I think I included it in like a monthly favorites and fails or something like that. Literally within 20 minutes, my face would just be cracked and peeling, especially here around my dry spots. It was just so bad. It looked beautiful when I put it on. This, quicker than any of the other ones that I tried this year, evaporated from my face the fastest. I did not like it at all. And so I want to show you guys what I've been using instead of that foundation because I think it has a pretty similar finish, and it's the Cali Ray Skin Tint. I told you guys, I don't dislike Cali Ray. I just don't dislike that first product that I talked about. I really like the skin tint. This is called a skin tint, but it has pretty good coverage. I would say this is more like a foundation. It has more coverage, I think, than the Fenty skin tint. It's also a little more matte. It's not quite as dewy. And so with this, you get the moisturization, you get a good coverage. I feel like you get a decent, like, radiant finish like you do with the KOSAS Revealer Foundation, but it doesn't dry my face out. It doesn't like suck out all of the moisture out of my face. So if that foundation didn't work for you, maybe give the Cali Ray Skin Tint a try. Next foundation that was a huge disappointment for me was the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Foundation, or as I like to say, not so yummy foundation. Oh, this was such a disappointment. I mean, it's called Yummy Skin. It's called Yummy Skin, and I know a lot of people, they either really, really like this foundation or they had the same experience as me. So once again, this is one of those products that a lot of people liked it, but unfortunately, like I described in the beginning of this section, it just didn't work out for me. I did a very detailed review of this foundation, and every single time that I tried it, it would look really good at first, like I mentioned, and then after a couple of hours, my skin was like so dry. And I tested a lot of these foundations in the winter, which honestly is the true test for me, because if it doesn't work in the winter, it's like, is it really worth the price? These are luxury products at the end of the day. This makeup keeps getting more and more expensive. So if it doesn't work for me in one of the seasons, then it's not really something that I'm gonna keep repurchasing, to be honest. And the product that I've been using instead has been this one from Chantecaille. This is the Chantecaille Future Skin Foundation. If you watch my channel, you know that I really like this foundation. This gives me yummy skin. This gives me that beautiful, plump, glass skin type of effect. I feel like the end effect that you get from this is very similar to what Danessa had intended for the yummy skin. I don't think that this one is as full coverage. I think this one is a little bit more medium, whereas the yummy skin, it has a little bit more full coverage from what I remember. The Chantecaille Future Skin is one of the few like skincare foundations that actually works for me. It's very calming, it's very moisturizing. If you have dry skin, even oily skin, because this is a little bit of like a gel formulation. If you have mature skin, I just think that this works for so many people. So if you had trouble with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin like I did, then you might want to give the Chantecaille Future Skin a go. The Beautiful Skin Foundation from Miss Charlotte Tilbury, I didn't return this one. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep trying this and seeing if it works for me. And I think it's because this was one of the first like skincare foundations that I tried this year. So I had some hope, and then I just got fed up and I kept returning the ones that didn't work for me. I used the shade 2 Neutral. That is the one that I have right here. This one is probably the one that is the least bad, the least worse foundation that I tried this year, because I did try this again in the summer when it's very humid here where I live, and I noticed this looks a lot better. This isn't a bad foundation. It's not bad. I know a lot of people like this, but if you live in a dry climate and you have dry skin, I really can't recommend this to you. It's the same thing. I did a very detailed review of this, looked at every single ingredient that was in here, trying to figure out like, why doesn't this look good on my skin? Because so many YouTubers wore this, you know, for like a couple of hours and said this was the best foundation they've ever tried. And then as the reviews kept coming out, a lot more people were like, you know what? It's kind of drying out my skin. I don't really like it. So I don't despise this foundation. I just think that I had really big hopes for it. I love the concealer. Love the concealer. I was afraid to try that, but I gave it a try for science, and it's one of my favorite concealers in my collection now. I'm just like, this is not going to be a holy grail. It's not going to be something that I repurchase, and it's not going to be something that I recommend to you all, because if it didn't work for me half the year, then I just don't think that it's worth the money, and I'm nervous to recommend it to my subscribers. What have I been using instead? This has actually been a new addition to my collection. I picked this up during the Black Friday sales this year, but it's already a favorite. This is from Clé de Peau. This is the Clé de Peau Radiant Cream Foundation. This is so lovely. I think you get a pretty similar finish to the Charlotte Tilbury. This one, it's a little bit creamier. It does feel a little bit more like skincare. Clé de Peau, just like Chantecaille, it's the kind of skincare types of products that for whatever reason they work really well for my skin. This is a very effortless everyday foundation, just like the Charlotte Tilbury. It comes in lightweight packaging. It's a squeezy tube. I like to apply this to my face with my fingers, and it's just so simple. It's just so effortless, and my skin always looks super good when I wear this. So this is what I've been using instead. The Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation. This was another foundation that got a lot of hype this year. A lot of people reviewed this. A lot of people said they liked it. I didn't like this that much. I just felt like it didn't bring anything to the table. It wasn't particularly hydrating. I think it's supposed to be a little bit more of like a Goldilocks foundation. It's not too matte. It's not too glowy. It's very much like there in the middle. But for me, once again, it just kind of dried my skin out. It didn't really look that great. I didn't think that there was anything super special about this foundation. Once again, I think a lot of people liked it, but you know what, friends? I have not heard anybody talking about this foundation since. Like, it got a lot of hype. I don't hear anybody putting this in like their favorites videos. I'm curious to see if anybody is going to be putting this in their best makeup of 2022. But you know what I think a lot of people will be putting in their best of 2022? This freaking House Labs foundation. This is the one that I'm wearing on my face today. This is what I've been using instead. This is a slam dunk for me. I tried this and I was like, oh, finally, a foundation that works for me. I was a little bit nervous because, you know, they're all like, ooh, fermented arnica, skincare-y. But you know what? It works for me. I think that the fermented arnica, I think it is like kind of like a calming agent, which for whatever reason, it works well for my skin. This gives such a beautiful, radiant effect to the skin. And once again, just like the Makeup Forever HD, I feel like this one, it's not supposed to be too dewy and moisturizing. It's not supposed to be too matte. It's a really good Goldilocks foundation. The shade range is a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird. You need to go in store to find your match for sure. But this has been like the best kind of Goldilocks foundation that I've tried this year. So this is what I've been using instead. One more foundation fail for you all today. It's this from Westman Atelier. And I love Westman Atelier, so I was so like excited for this. This is the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Complexion Drops. Once again, this whole skincare in makeup thing, it's a big trend right now. I heard in some video that I was watching the other day, this is the biggest growing category. Like makeup that has skincare, biggest growing category right now, which is why all the brands are doing it, because we are buying it. And these are supposed to be like that beautiful, fresh, natural, lightweight Westman Atelier makeup kind of look. Westman Atelier is very like kind of minimalist, but exceptionally chic and luxurious. And these, they were not luxurious for me. And I feel like a lot of people felt the same way. I do have a dedicated review for this product, by the way, if you guys want to see that video. These are just so oily, these drops. It's so oily. Just like the Cali Ray Just Add Raise drops, this was just so oily. And then it didn't even like moisturize my skin. I don't even feel like it made my skin look better. I didn't feel like they were particularly nourishing. They just were not a favorite of mine. Some of you guys have told me you really like these, and what you do is you put just a couple of drops in your hand, you rub your hands together, and then you press it onto your face. So I do think that that would probably work better, but it's gonna be a very no makeup kind of look. You're not gonna get a lot of coverage from these. For me, that is just not worth the price. That's not really what I was looking for in this product. If you are very much a minimalist, you like oilier products, you want just a little touch of tint, you like the skincare that's in here, again, watch my review. I talk a lot about the ingredients in that review. Then I think these will work for you. But for me, it's just like, I don't like the feeling of the oiliness on my face. And what have I been using instead? I discovered this product this year. No, it didn't come out this year, but I discovered it. And it is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Tint. I like this. This is my go-to no makeup kind of product. A lot of you guys are familiar with this. It's basically like a gel sort of serum, and then in the serum, suspended in the serum, are these little globules of pigment. And so when you rub it into your face or you apply it to your face with a brush, those little spheres, those little globules of the pigment, they burst and they deposit that pigment on your face. And this gives me that beautiful, plump, hydrated type of look with just a little bit of coverage. Just a little bit of coverage. I prefer this kind of hydrating gel, almost serum-like texture to an oily texture any day, because this has humectants in it. It has more humectants as opposed to emollients, which are just gonna kind of sit on top of the skin. So this is what I like instead. Chanel also came out with the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. I like that one as well, but I definitely gravitate more towards the Water Fresh tint for whatever reason. Okay, friends, now we're getting into like the blushes, the highlighters. I don't have too many in this category, but one of the ones that comes to mind is this blush from Merit. I think that these are called the Flush Bomb. Don't get me wrong, these aren't horrible. I just think that they are for a very specific type of person. First off, I don't like the packaging at all. Merit has really beautiful packaging. It's one of the things that I like about the brand. They actually gifted me this product along with a couple other products. So over time, over the course of this year, I've been able to try all of the products that they have in their brand, and I like most of them. I really do, but I don't really like these blushes. I just feel like, number one, like I said, I don't like the packaging. It's all cheapy, but also you don't get that much product. This is all you get. Like, you think that this would be a little twisty up, right? It's not. This is all you get. It's not a very good value at all. I think that it looks pretty on the cheeks, but the thing is, friends, this is very balmy. It's called Flush Balm, right? It's very balmy, so you don't get a lot of pigment. See how it kind of blends away very quickly? It also kind of disturbs the makeup that I already have on my face. It depends on what you're wearing. Like if you're wearing the Chanel Water Fresh tint, then this is a really good thing to kind of layer on top. That being said, the last thing that I want to say about this is that there really just is no longevity. I feel like I put it on, it blends away, and then within an hour, I'm like, where's my blush? So I'm just not a really big fan of these for all those reasons. There's just too many things about these blushes that I don't like. I feel like there's a lot of other really good cream blushes that are out on the market. And the ones that I want to recommend are these from Chanel. Once again, going off of the Chanel Water Fresh tint, we got the Chanel Water Fresh blushes. I'm actually wearing this shade today. This is the shade Deep Apricot. I have two shades. This one is my favorite. I would definitely buy more. I've heard from some people, I actually was watching Tara Lynn's worst products of 2022, and she put this in her worst product. So it just kind of goes to show you guys, some people love these products, some people hate these products. I love these blushes. I know some people feel like these are a little bit too much extra work because you have to deposit them on your hand. Usually you kind of have to rub it in and then take a brush or your fingers and apply it. But for me, it's fine. Like, that's what I do with any kind of liquid blush. It's fine. I like these because not only do I get that beautiful, plump, dewy kind of look on my cheeks. It's a very like watercolor kind of look. I mean, I'm wearing it today so you guys can see. But what I like about it is that it lasts very long. Some people tell me that these don't last long. I think that they last very long. They're very pigmented. I have much more confidence that these shades will show up on all skin tones This is the shade Deep Apricot. I think this will show up on a lot of skin tones. I went in very light-handed with this. I really mix it onto my hand very well and then just lightly dab a synthetic brush and put it on that way. But if you have a deeper skin tone, I think that you can really build this up. Comment down below if you agree. Let us know. I would love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I think that this looks beautiful. It gives a very similar effect. It's not too dewy. It's not too greasy. Doesn't disturb your foundation underneath, and it lasts all day. Y'all know I did not like this highlighter from Pat McGrath. This is from the holiday collection. And the reason that I didn't like this isn't because I don't like the shade. It's because it's so glittery. I did a whole review of this. Any reviews that I have for these products, I will link them down below. I don't know if you guys can tell right here, but once again, I have detailed swatches in that video. This is just kind of like a glitter bomb. I was so excited for this highlighter. I thought this was gonna be the best product in the Pat McGrath holiday collection. A lot of the other items, I liked them, but they weren't like, oh, this is something I'm gonna reach for all the time. I don't have a Pat McGrath highlighter that I reach for all the time. I usually go for a lot of other brands in my collection. And it's probably just because, you know, I haven't bought the right one. I know she came out with some other highlighters earlier this year, but I thought this one, it was gonna be special because it's the perfect tone. It's a perfect shade for my skin tone. It has the beautiful heart, but it's just too glittery for me. I also don't like the packaging. I like this style of component, but I don't like this embossing. I feel like it's very cheap. So what have I been using instead? Instead, I've been using this very beautiful, this very elegant Chanel Rêve de Camellia highlighter, and this is what I have on my cheekbones today. I'm wearing a lot of Chanel today. For whatever reason, I was like, you know what? We're gonna go very heavy on the Chanel today. This is such a beautiful whisper of illumination on your face. I know some people, they say they're not highlighters, they're illuminating powders. To me, it's the same thing. But this is a very soft, elegant type of powder. I know this was limited edition. I know that you can't get it anymore, but I'm just being honest, friends. This is what I'm using instead. Let me hold these up side by side. You can see that they are a very similar tone, but it is very clear, even from me just holding them up, that the Pat McGrath one is just way more intense than this one from Chanel. If you guys want something kind of similar to this, but slightly different shade, I would check out the new illuminating face powders that they have in the holiday collection. I have a full review of that collection here on my channel, so it's not gonna be the same shade, but the effect is very much the same. I love the illuminating powders from Chanel. We're moving on to eyeshadows, and y'all know I did not like the Chanel Tweed collection. That review that I did, it is my best, highest performing video on my channel. I try to be super honest with you all. I told you guys in that video which palettes I thought were better than others because not all of these Chanel palettes were the same quality, but overall, I just didn't really care for them. And I think with Chanel eyeshadows, it's kind of hit or miss for me. Sometimes they just are not pigmented enough. Sometimes they're very disappointing. And then other times I think they're perfectly lovely. And I really like the beautiful, soft, elegant, sophisticated look that they give. This one was the worst one. This is Tweed 02, Tweed Poupre. Sorry, I know my pronunciation is super bad, but this was the worst one. And this one was almost like the most aesthetically pleasing one because it got the pretty like soft, like this is a beautiful pink Chanel tweed. I love it. Think of like a beautiful pink Chanel tweed bag. So beautiful. I could only dream of having something like that. But this was dust. Come on. A lot of people will agree with me. This was the worst one. It just did nothing for me. These were a huge disappointment. I think the biggest thing is like, these were just so expensive. They were more expensive than a regular Chanel quad. And so I wanted something a little bit extra. The beautiful tweed embossing, as you can see, it's faded very much. And I really, I haven't used this palette since I did the review. I tested all the palettes out when I first got them, but this just really isn't something that I reach for. I keep this around for comparison purposes. I really just didn't like these. I didn't like the pigmentation. I like the Brunette Rose. I think that's pretty, but there's so many similar color stories out there that I just, I don't really need to reach for that. I have a lot of palettes that are similar to that. And in fact, I have an entire comparison video comparing all 4 of the Chanel Tweed palettes to other really popular palettes in my luxury collections. If you guys are interested in that, definitely check out that video. But To bring things to more of a positive note, I did really like the Chanel Holiday Palette Quad. This is what I have on my eyes today. This really brought it back for me because I don't have that many Chanel eyeshadows that I truly love that I'm like, yes, I'm gonna pick that over other luxury palettes that are in my collection, you know, compared to Tom Ford, compared to Dior. I think that this is stunning. I put this in my top 5 holiday releases of the year video that I did in collaboration with All Feisty. In fact, I think we might have both put this in our top 5, or maybe this was like an honorable mention for her. This is such a beautiful palette. I think that if you like a soft, kind of warm tone type of neutral look, this is great. It's neutral, but it's got something a little bit interesting. You have the beautiful gold topper shade. This is what I have been enjoying instead of the tweed eyeshadows. Another product that I just didn't care for and I did end up returning is that Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyeshadow Palette. I know, for some people this was like holy grail. A lot of people are putting this in their best eyeshadow palettes of 2022. But for me, friends, you'll know if you watched my very in-depth review and comparisons of that palette, I just don't think this is worth it. I think that it's overpriced. The mattes are very powdery. You get a lot of kick up and fallout. I don't think that they blend very well. The metallic shades, which there's only 2 of in the palette, they're not effortless. Like, it's not a luxury formula. It's just okay. And then the wet looking shades are very beautiful, but if you watch that review, there are similar things out there in the market. There were very similar things that I had in my collection, so it just wasn't necessary. And I think a lot of the shades in that palette, they're very similar to each other. Between the metallics, between the wet look shades, they don't look that different once they go on to the eye. I felt like there wasn't a good balance of mattes, metallics, and shimmer shades. It just wasn't worth it for me. I couldn't see myself reaching for that palette. The palette also kind of irritated my eyes as well because those glittery shades, because they're so finely milled, they are prone to getting in your eyes, so be careful if you're interested in that palette. The palettes that I've been using instead have been my Wayne Goss ones. This is one of my favorites recently. I did a review of this palette and I also used it recently in that Get Ready With Me that I filmed with my mom. These are beautiful. I feel like the formula is much more elegant. If you're somebody that likes higher luxury brand products, and I'm not trying to be snobby here, what I mean is like a more satin kind of look, maybe a softer kind of look, something that's a little bit more effortless to work with, something that you don't need to put a lot of effort into, I think you're going to like this kind of formula. The other reason why this is sort of my alternative is because these shimmer shades that Wayne Goss has in here, they're very similar, almost identical to the ones that are in the Mario palette. Once again, check out that review if you want to see swatches and comparisons of all that and other alternatives for what I think you can use, because it's not anything radical. There are other products out there, and that palette is just so neutral that for me, I'm like, it's not a slam dunk, so why is it in my collection? So it wasn't an absolutely terrible palette. It's just, for me, it wasn't worth it. And instead, I have all these beautiful Wayne Goss palettes that I can use for my collection. Now, if the Mario Smack Dog did get people riled up, now they're really gonna get riled up because I didn't love these Lisa Eldridge eyeshadow palettes. And I feel bad putting these in worst makeup I tried this year because I don't think that these are bad. In fact, I gave this palette to my mom and she really, really loves it. She used it in that video that we did. She loves it. She thinks that it's beautiful. She actually said that she liked this better than her Charlotte Tilbury palettes that she's been using. She said she liked it better than a lot of the other palettes that she has used. So there's that. I want to put that out there. Not a bad product, but for me, it was one of the worst eyeshadow releases because I just didn't feel like this really added anything to my collection. I have to kind of go with what my heart tells me. My heart tells me, Sophia, don't reach for that palette, reach for this other palette. I did like this one. This was called Sorcery. This was my favorite out of the 3 that I tried. I felt like this one was the most unique. I don't think that the formula of these shadows is bad. I just think that it is for somebody that likes a softer, smoother, not high shine, not sparkly kind of effect. The Muse palette for me is my least favorite because I felt like when I did that look, while it was beautiful, I just felt like it looked like I had 1 or 2 shadows on my eyes as opposed to 6. And a couple of you guys have messaged me on Instagram saying that you felt the same. I feel like a lot of people, they either really like these and this was exactly the kind of formula that they were looking for, or they kind of felt similar to me and these were just like not super impactful. I also think that the Muse palette, it's just not that unique. I think she probably did this for the person that's looking for something that is more neutral, but for myself and for a lot of you who are watching out there, we already have the Charlotte Tilbury palettes, we already have the Patrick Ta palettes, we have Natasha Denona palettes that are similar to this. And so when I think about my alternatives, it's like every other like pink, soft pink neutral palette. Those are the ones that I am using instead, especially the ones from Charlotte Tilbury, because that's what I prefer, unlike my mom, who prefers the Lisa Eldridge. The Myth palette, this palette, I told you, I wanted a little bit more sparkle from this. I actually really liked the look that I created. When I went and I watched that footage back, I was like, it's actually a really pretty look. I like the look that I created, but at the same time, I don't think that this is so much different from other things in my collection. I'm enjoying much more my Natasha Denona purple blue palette that I bought in the Black Friday sale, the big 28 pan one. I've been gravitating more towards that than towards this. I'm honestly afraid to use this palette because the first time that I used it, I had such bad eye irritation that I don't know if I want to go through that again. It took several days to get my eyes back to like a normal state. So that's the other reason why this was one of the worst products that I tried, is because not only did I feel like it didn't have all of the things that I wanted from it, and it's also really expensive, but also it was just very irritating to my eyes. I have 2 eyeliner fails to share with you, and the first one, unfortunately, it's another Danessa Myricks product. These are the Danessa Myricks Infinite Chrome Micro Pencils. And the reason why these were a fail for me is because I just can't really tell that I'm wearing these. These are supposed to be multi-chrome eyeliners. Let's see if I can show you guys here on my hand. They look beautiful. Like, they have a very beautiful shift. Check that out. This one is called Jade, if I'm not, yes, this one is called Jade. Super beautiful. But the problem is that when I actually put these on my eyes, I can't really tell. I don't see the effect. And these aren't cheap. They're not cheap, and they're also called micro pencils. So they're very dinky, they're very small, you don't get a lot of product. I just feel like for me, these aren't super worth it. What have I been using instead? I've been using my Danessa Myricks eyeshadows, the Velvet Chromes, okay? Because I feel like I can get the desired effect that I was looking for from the eyeliners from just using her eyeshadows. So this has been a favorite. I've shared this in my last monthly favorites video. This is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3, the Experience palette. Love this. Instead of using Jade along the lash line, I will go in with Martian. See, it's a very similar shade. That has impact. It's so much more pigmented. It has more lasting power. It pops more. I also got the new Lightwork palette, the Lightwork Volume 4 Transcendence palette. I like that one too. I just rather go into those rather than creating an extra step and an extra purchase with the multi-chrome eyeliner. So I've been really liking a lot of the Danessa Myricks stuff that I've bought this year. It's just that unfortunately, like, a couple of the things were misses, but things like this is a slam dunk. I love this little palette. You all know that I love the Victoria Beckham Beauty Satin Eye Kajal Liners, but she came out with a new version this year, which is the Satin Kajal Jewel Eyeliners. And I did a full review of these, so if you guys are curious, you want to see some swatches, I did a look with each eyeliner. I have the 3 that she originally launched with. And it's another thing where it's like, it's not the worst product in the world. It's just, they are not as good as the regular eyeliners. I much prefer the metallic formula that those come in, like the bronze, the sea gray. Those are really good. I feel like those are the best formulas because with Victoria Beckham Beauty, what I'm noticing is that between the colors of like the lid luster and the eyeliners, the formula can vary just a little bit. And the color that I really did not like is this one. This is called Gold Lame. And I told you guys in that review, this one, it's just like kind of chunky. You can see it there. It's like, it's a good, the thought is good. The thought and the intention behind it is good, but it's just way too glittery, and I just spread it out and the glitter is going everywhere. The glitter kind of gets all up in your eyes. I don't hate every shade in the line. It's just like, I don't know, this wasn't that great. I kind of expected more from Victoria Beckham Beauty. I love a lot of their products, but for me, this one unfortunately was just a little bit more of a fail. What I like instead, what I've been using instead, are these eyeliners from Chanel. These are the Chanel Stilo Yo Waterproof long-lasting eyeliners. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. If you don't like glitter and you prefer more metallic and you want something that's going to be more long-lasting, I think that these are the way to go. They have metallic formulas. In fact, the one I'm wearing today, Rose Couvre, hopefully I'm saying that okay. I have that one, and then I have another shade that's called Eros on the top lash line. I'll link those colors down below so that you guys can shop. The metallic versions of these are a great alternative, and these two colors that I'm wearing today, these are the perfect, soft, chic, sophisticated kind of colors for any of like your Charlotte Tilbury palettes, the Patrick Ta palettes. Today I've got it with the Chanel Holiday Quad, those kind of soft, neutral, nude, you know, pinky warm tone types of palettes. These are perfect. These are perfect, and you can see it's got that metallic look to it, but it's going to be much more long lasting, and it's not going to be chunky and glittery. So I told you guys in the review of these Victoria Beckham ones, these aren't bad. You just have to keep in mind they're very glittery, and since I've gotten them, I just feel like I don't reach for them nearly as much as the other Victoria Beckham ones that I love. I have pretty much every color at this point, and then these ones from Chanel. The last worst product that I tried this year is a mascara, and I did return it because it was just so bad. Like, I couldn't wear it, and it was the mascara from Milk Makeup. This is the Milk Makeup Rise Lifting and Lengthening Mascara. This mascara, just like most of these products, had very good intentions. It said it was gonna lift my lashes. It was gonna be super lengthening. That's what I like. I like super lengthening formulas, but unfortunately, when it comes to Milk Makeup, and it was true for this one as well, their mascaras just don't last well on my lashes. They're super smudgy, they flake all over the place, they just don't last that long. I don't know what it is about their formulas, but they don't last. I like the way that they look. Like, I like the brushes, I like the Kush mascara as well. I've tried that, but for whatever reason, they go on super beautiful and they just don't last. This was just such a smudgy and flaky mess. Thankfully, Tower 28 brought it with this one. This is the Tower 28 Make Waves Mascara, and you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about this, but this is one of my favorite mascaras. It does everything that you would hope that you would have gotten from the Milk mascara, except it's a tubing formula, so it lasts really long on your lashes. It doesn't budge, lasts all day. I need something that lasts. I don't want flakiness. I don't want smudging. And my lashes are fairly long, so I don't want the mascara getting up here on my upper lid. I don't want it collecting down here. It makes me look old and disheveled. I don't like it when that happens. This doesn't do that. This really does lift and lengthen your lashes. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today, by the way. It's so wonderful. And then most importantly, it is super long lasting. A lot of you guys have told me that you've been enjoying this mascara as well. It seems to be trending a little bit. I don't know if it's trending on TikTok. I don't have TikTok. Half the time I don't even know what the trends are. I just know I tried this mascara and I am in love. Anyway, friends, that is all I have for you today. Those were the worst products that I tried in 2022. For whatever reason, they just didn't suit my preferences. They didn't work out for me, but not to worry. I have a best products of 2022 video that is going to be coming up very soon. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and don't give me a thumbs down just because maybe I didn't like something that was a holy grail for you. I want to hear from you in the comments. Let's all be super positive and share our thoughts. What are some of the worst products that you tried in 2022? Do you disagree with me on any of these? It's totally fine if we do. Like I said, a lot of these products are beloved by many, many people, so these are just my 2 cents. Sound off in those comments down below and let me know all of your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already, and with that, friends, I hope that you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.